Hello and welcome to Rose Ed, the definitive soccer podcast. And the Champions League is back. There's winning starts for the English clubs, despite Liverpool and City looking lax at the back, while Lukaku continues to look sharp in attack. And as for Manchester United, well, young boys, there's no need to feel down. I said, young boys, United came to town. I said, young boys, you made poor Hannah frown because we all laughed when you beat them. That's right, it's Rose Ed, the definitive soccer podcast. Me, Joe Forrester, here with Hannah East, as always.
That was going so well until it just tailed off at the end, Joe.
Oh, you're right, Hannah.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. That was such an awful song, but I could just see in your face, you were like jingling away. So excited to sing that to my face.
Oh, lovely stuff. Mike, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Yeah, you didn't seem to enjoy that as much as I thought you would.
No, I thought it was a really good start, and like United, it just ended really badly.
Oh, lovely stuff. Oh, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Right, Champions League is back. It's probably a good place to start when we do get to the football. But firstly, we've all been on holiday.
We have.
Hannah, you've dressed a bit like you're going on Strictly today, but you do sort of have a nice glow to you. Do you have a nice holiday?
I did. Yeah, basically most of my clothes are in the wash, and my babysitter just turned up, and I thought I better put a bit of a bright colour on. And what I've just realised, I've actually got this top on the wrong way round because the label's there, and it's a see-through top. It's a see-through top. So sorry about that. You can only see. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like the best holiday ever because you've got an ear infection and a spotty back now.
Yeah, all right. I told you that in confidence.
Oh, sorry.
I had to go to the doctors yesterday. I'm 35 years old, and he told me that I've got an ear infection and a spotty back.
He didn't say you've got a spotty back. That's not a diagnosis.
I went to my mate down the road, Donna. She said you got a spotty back and an ear infection. My dad actually said to me, "Did you send a picture of your ear to the doctor?" And I was like, no, because he won't be able to see in my ear canal, would he, to tell me if it's infected? But he said, oh, it's really infected. Have you been in a swimming pool? And I thought, not like the type of swimming pool that Joe Forrester goes into in Magaluf to get pink eye. But yeah, I was pretending to be a tadpole and a mermaid for 2 weeks to my kids, and it's backfired. So,
I mean, if you've got like a spotty back, right, what does that mean? Is that like
apparently I've had loads of olive oil with my bread for like breakfast, dinner and tea. You know, on holiday they give you loads of olive oil and balsamic vinegar. So I feel like
what, rub it on your back?
No, just like changing diet. And
yeah, but why does it go on your back? Why does it not go all over your face?
Well, my skin's not great on my face either, but to be honest, we have quite a strict sun care routine on holiday where my husband makes me, him and our 2 kids get up, have a shower, get our Factor 50, smother it all over ourselves and wait. He sets a timer for 15 minutes so it absorbs into our skin, which is why I'm actually paler now that I've come back from holiday than when I went.
What a fun holiday with the East. Also, I'd like to see his medical degree because he doesn't, if he says, oh, you got spotty back, you've had too much olive oil on your bread, he doesn't sound like a real doctor.
Dino for a tenner told me.
Yeah, Dean outside the co-op. Mike, where have you been? You've been in Dorset.
I had 2 really contrasting holidays. One of them you couldn't really call a holiday. It was more like an away day, a really horrible away day. So I went to go visit. I went to go visit my girlfriend's family, who are originally from Preston. So like her immediate family's moved down to Cornwall, but like the rest of her family, extended family, live in Preston. So I went there for the first time, and it was fantastic. A great city where the highlight is the train station. So.
To get out. Podcast.
Yeah, no offense, Preston. It's just not the most exciting place. And then I went to Tewkesbury in the Cotswolds, which is a old Tudor town, famous for a really big battle between the Lancs and I'm sure you know about this, Joe.
It's actually pre-Tudor Britain, so we're actually talking kind of latter age Plantagenets. Yeah, like Henry. We're talking Henry VI, War of the Roses stuff. But yeah, very big battle, very big important battle in the War of the Roses in the 15th century.
14 something.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Something.
I'd imagine we're talking. I think it's the return of Edward IV to retake the throne. I'd say I'm probably 1474-ish. I would guess.
Yeah, I think it's 1473. It was called like the Bloody Meadow, and it's right next to the River Severn, and apparently a lot of soldiers drowned. But yeah, it was quite interesting actually. Like, it's a very like old town. I think the cathedral. This won't interest anyone else, by the way, but the cathedral was built in like the 1100s or something. So that's quite cool. You don't see that every day.
Well, I believe it's called the Bloody Meadow because the river ran red with blood. And as the Lancastrian forces tried to escape, as you said, they were butchered and caught there. And also, so the church is quite significant because the church is supposed to be sanctuary. So if you found your way across the threshold and into a church, you're on hallowed ground. Therefore, you're immune from kind of capture and violence and that kind of thing. But the Yorkists didn't care. By that point, the kind of enmity between the two sides was so bitter that Edward IV went in, dragged the Lancastrian prisoners out and killed them anyway, which was considered to be a gross act of sacrilege. But he ended up with the throne, didn't he? So swings and roundabouts.
It's incredible how you just have that at the top of your head. I literally just mentioned one place and you just knew that.
There you go, mate. There you go. A wasted life. I don't know anything about the modern world. I've been away. I went to Slovenia.
Sorry, we didn't even ask you, did we, Joe?
Good, don't worry about it. So I've made notes and everything.
Oh, have you? You're well professional.
I went to Slovenia. It's very nice. If you've not been, go. It's very pretty. But I had a Thai massage while I was there.
Christ, here we go.
No, not like that, because I wouldn't like that.
Did you have a happy ending? Did you?
No, it was actually a very unhappy ending.
Oh dear.
Because I don't like the idea of a happy ending anyway, because I would just be I'd feel under quite a lot of time pressure if she started stroking the otter or whatever the phrase is. The otter. Do you want to be an otter's quite big, I suppose, isn't it? Not an otter. What would it be? The gerbil. Throttling the vole. But at the end, so it's a Thai massage. So I thought it was going to be nice and relaxing, or kind of like a deep tissue sports massage sort of thing. Have you ever had a Thai massage?
The brutal.
It's quite rough, isn't it? Yeah.
It's quite aggressive. There's quite a lot of elbows and stuff. And also I don't feel like she's focusing on particular areas of tension. So at the end, she just goes, and I'm going to do, this was her voice. She goes, "Sit up." And I was like, oh, okay. So I sat up. She gets onto the bed behind me, pushes me down. So I'm like folded over into my own lap. And she then sits on my back. It hurts so much. I'm not very flexible
that way.
Well, this is like, I don't stretch enough. So my hamstrings, my back, it really hurt. And then she like pulled me backwards. I'm not joking. Wiggled my ears, like pulled my ears really hard. There's no tension in my ears. And then she punched me in the back.
I would pay to see that.
Just was it just one fatal blow, or was it like, a few, like 1, 2, or a
jab, bang?
No, it was literally, she like wiggled my ears and punched me in the back. She's like, okay, I'll finish. I was just like,
you certainly didn't finish after that.
No, I paid €56, which was a discounted rate to go to Guantanamo Bay, basically.
And be beaten up by a woman.
Well, so go to Slovenia. Don't have a Thai massage. That's my review of Slovenia.
And did you actually feel better after it? Like sometimes it takes an hour or two, or was the bruising just out by that point and you didn't like it?
Well, I felt a bit weird because when something weird happens to you and you feel a bit vulnerable and uncertain.
Yeah.
I sort of felt I was a bit wobbly. After that, I didn't really know what to do. But yeah, it's nice. It's ever so pretty, Slovenia. So there you go. I recommend it. So that's our holidays. The Champions League's back. Hannah, Cristiano Ronaldo's back. It's a great time to be a Manchester United fan. Wasn't it fantastic on Tuesday night?
Well, I think, talking about Newcastle, the match that we all seem to be, it's nice to see the other players stepping up. I was thinking, Fernandes I think he's going to flourish. The likes of Lingard, Greenwood, Rashford. I think it's an exciting opportunity for them. I read an article the other day that apparently they didn't. Nobody had a dessert the night before, on Friday night, ahead of the weekend match, because Ronaldo didn't, and they're all kind of being pretty careful with what they're eating. They're seeing that he's got his own chef and dietitian and stuff like that. So I think over the next few months, providing Ronaldo doesn't get too exposed, the last thing we want is a 36-year-old to get injured and play too much. We need to use him where it's essential to use him. However, the other night, it wasn't ideal. I know this is where you're going.
Yeah, you just get. I was like, no one cares about that. You lost. Tell us.
Get all the
Against a
get all the
team.
dessert stuff out of the way. No one cares about that.
Yeah,
Oh
You
no,
lost
no.
against young boys.
Oh, nobody had suet pudding or what? No one
Nobody
cares.
had
You
any
lost.
Nobody had Greek yogurt on Friday
Them
because
poor
you didn't
guys
want.
really suffered, didn't they? They really suffered.
They didn't have custard on their marble cake. But yeah, it's like literally, for God's sake, is what I was thinking on Tuesday.
I mean, Mike, one thing I find quite interesting, I know me and you are very keen to jump on Manchester United losing, and I really did enjoy it, I must say. But do you think the surface had anything to do with it? Because they play on an artificial surface, and I felt like the ball skipped up quite a lot, and I felt like United struggled to deal with that.
Yeah, maybe, but it's quite a niche excuse, isn't it? Really. I mean, I think you saw that both teams were having to play on that surface, and yeah, I mean, they like sometimes they do train on that surface, don't they? So I think they might be used to it. But I just thought, from Man United's perspective, Solskjaer showed his deficiencies when it comes to high level game management. Like this is a Champions League, and you can never sort of overlook your opposition and underestimate them. And I think when they went down to 10 men, he got it completely wrong. I think he went too defensive. He left Ronaldo, 36-year-old Ronaldo, who can't really run for the whole 90 minutes. He's not going to be the guy that you want to chase down the ball, or who you want at the end of a counter attack, which you should be doing when you're a man down. Left him up on his own, isolated, and you had like no real legs in midfield. I just think it was wrong what he did. He needed ball carriers in there. He needed not to go to back five, because I thought it was so negative really. And it's almost like he didn't react quickly enough. I just don't feel like there was that plan there. I just think it was a bit haphazard, like talking to his coaches, assistants, and like, what do we do? There was no fallback plan there for what would happen.
I thought there's a glaring issue, isn't there? We keep coming back to it. Not in the middle third, but say the pitch is divided into quarters. In that kind of second quarter, right? This is a very confusing way. Defensive midfield is an issue. Like you said, ball carriers, people to that ball retention. I thought that yeah, like you said, that is just that perennial problem for United. If you can't link defense to attack, then you can have all the attacking quality you like. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it is. They need that link, and they've got a load of players in there that are good at like specific roles. You've got some that are under par, like someone like Fred. I just don't think he's really good enough. I don't think he's enough of what they need. He's not really a defensive midfielder. He's not really an attacking midfielder. He's just sort of someone like a bit of a, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me what Fred is. It's really hard to describe as a midfielder. I'm not really sure what he adds. And then you've got like McTominay and Pogba, who can do the attacking side of the game but not defensive. I just think there's no balance in there. And really at that stage, I think they had at one point in the game Van der Beek, Fred and Bruno in midfield, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's just not what you need to sort of see out a game when you're 1-0 up and down to 10 men. You need a bit more legs. You need some pace. And there wasn't any of that. Yeah, I just think this is where Solskjaer shows his limitations, really. Like, he's a great sort of man motivator. He's really good at letting the players express themselves. But when it comes to this level, you need to make those decisions quick and make them right.
And have that experience behind you, I think, as well, for such a high-level game, and knowing the importance of it. I agree. I mean, it definitely highlighted that. And I think Ronaldo's statement when he did come to United was basically he's doing that because of Sir Alex. And I think if I was a manager of a club and Ronaldo was coming to my team, if he released his statement to say he's coming because of a previous manager, there's a bit of an identification there of... I'm not going to say respect, that Ronaldo doesn't respect Ole, but what I'm saying is it highlighted to me that there's more behind Ole as a manager than just him being the front face of the team, if that makes sense.
Are we saying hashtag Solskjaer out?
We're not saying that, no. But I think, Mike, you've
Would you like to go on
identified.
record and say that, Hannah?
I think you've identified that there is potentially a bit of a weakness there, and he's got a good backing behind him. But I think as a United fan, it's like, you don't want the manager to be making decisions that you feel that as a fan you could have made a better decision yourself. And I know that's part and parcel of football, where you're like, oh, what's he doing that for? And generally there's a logic behind it. But when I was watching the game the other night, I was like, I couldn't understand some of the decisions that he'd made. And I think that was a general consensus for a lot of United fans. And as a consequence, it didn't end as we'd wished, by a team that it was like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous.
United away at West Ham this weekend. Do you think it's going to be back to business as usual, Hannah?
I hope so. I'm hoping that they've had a few training sessions together. It's going to take a bit of time. Like we're building a team around Ronaldo right now, and the gaps that we've identified from Tuesday night and potentially from the weekend against Newcastle, I think they're going to be ironed out a little bit more, and the people's roles and experience are going to be evident on at the weekend. So I'm pretty positive. It's just going to take a bit of time. You can't just expect players to gel after 2 training sessions together. It's going to take a bit of time. But when people kind of get the balance right and the communication right, then I think that we're going to be on to something pretty special at Manchester United.
I'm going to put money on West Ham this weekend.
Are you?
I've just got a feeling that it's not all rosy at the Theatre of Dreams. I don't know. Obviously, West Ham, no Mikel Antonio sent off last weekend, wasn't he? But I don't know. I mean, away at West Ham, they finally got an atmosphere there. I don't know. Could be something. Anyway, City Leipzig. City won 6-3. Everyone was, I was about to say creaming over City. Everyone was purring about City's performance. I just looked at that and thought they shipped 3 goals. To be honest, like they, without a doubt, they're going to score loads of goals. Jack Grealish's goal, he took his goal really well. Defenders just backed off him. They let him have all the space in the world. It's awful, awful defending. And I just watched that and thought, I don't know what you thought, Mike. I just thought City could be got at. And I looked at them compared to, I know we keep going back to Chelsea as kind of the touchstone, but I looked at them and I thought, I know which team I think is better. And I think if City are going to ship 3 against Leipzig, who are struggling a little bit under new coach Jesse Marsch, I don't know. I didn't think they looked all that.
Yeah, it was a bit haphazard from Man City, isn't it? They've had a decent defence so far this season, but I think when you change the defence so much, like Zinchenko came in, Walker was out, and then Ake came in, who I thought struggled a little bit. And I think when you're not playing a consistent back 4, it's always going to be a bit more difficult for the players to gel and to be able to become a unit. We see that across a lot of teams. Saw that with Liverpool as well. They changed their centre-back partnership and they struggled as well. And I think there's even though they spent so much money, like it's crazy to say, but I think there are still weaknesses in that team. I feel like Nathan Ake is a good player, but at that level again, I think he can get exposed. It is mental because they have spent 60 million on Ruben Diaz. They spent a lot of money on Laporte. They spent that window 150 million on fullbacks. This was a few years ago, and when you see how much is invested in that team and what the defensive structure can be, sometimes you're right. I think they are vulnerable. Obviously, Spurs beat them as well. So
I mean, I thought Nkunku playing up front for Leipzig, I thought he looked really good and his movement was really sharp, but he got through so easily. Just little off-the-shoulder moves. Can we also talk about Robbie Savage's pronunciation of Mukiele? He pronounced it Mukalele, like Claude Mukalele. Like he's confused that he thinks Claude, he's gone, okay, Mukiele. So I remember Claude Makalele, or it's Mukalele. It's like, I'm sorry, and I'm sure Robbie Savage is a very nice chap.
He is a nice guy.
Is he?
Yeah, I've worked with him a couple of times. He probably won't remember that I worked with him a few times, but I have worked with him at a few football events, and he's a nice guy.
We probably can't. Right? Like he was lawyer.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's just not a very good co-commentator.
He's not a very good co-commentator.
He can be the nicest guy in the world, but he's just not great at his job.
I'm sorry, it's not a hard word to pronounce, and it's just I want the very least you should. And I don't. Accents is a one thing. Like say you've got I don't know, French or German or Italian pundits, and they say that a name with an accent, an English name with an accent, fine. But just fundamentally getting the letters in the name wrong is just no. I'm sorry. If they were doing a co-coms test, right, and it's me or you, Hannah, there, and we couldn't pronounce the players' names, we would not get the job.
Yeah,
And I'm sorry,
true.
just because you played for the Derby and that Derby team was the worst team to ever play in Premier League history and got the lowest points total, why do you then get to do co-coms? I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but it's the wrong job for you, Robbie.
Yeah, but it's also that like the commentators and the pundits as well. I'm sure they get sent like match packs and fact packs where it has the players saying their name. And they actually like pronounce their name how they want it to be pronounced, and then it's up to the commentator who does that to listen to it and then learn it so you can say it right. So obviously, like some pundits just aren't doing that research, and it's like fundamentals.
Well, Mike, and you know when you're doing live radio, so you used to do this, for example, if you would bring stuff in and you'd be like, Joe won't be able to pronounce that word. What is it? Dog, cat. you spell it, but you'd spell it out phonetically.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is read the sounds. And it's just, just things like that. It's funny, but it's just like, come on, mate.
I had to do an event in Dubai once, and we had
oh dear.
There's about 65 Chinese divers. And I had to pronounce like all their names. And we went out one night because I'm really a true professional. And we went out one night, and the next day I just remember looking, and it was a hot and sweaty swimming pool. And the Chinese coach just came up to me and he said, listen, right, it's really difficult for the names. He was like, just say, oh yeah, down the microphone each time and then call their numbers. So I remember before I started, it was like, oh yeah. It's
like you're doing a vocal warm-up.
The Chinese coach told you to do that?
Yeah, because he said it's really difficult because otherwise his job was to come and sit and tell me everybody's names. So he said, just say, oh yeah, number 7.
You sure this wasn't some random guy off the street, Hannah? Are you sure
No, this was a genuine event, but he didn't have time to sit down and phonetically go through everybody's names. So that I just spent my hungover day going, oh yeah, 7, oh yeah, 8. And then I just thought I'd just make it up, and the coach genuinely didn't care. So
oh God.
Yeah.
Liverpool won, beat Milan 3-2. Again, I thought Liverpool looked a little leaky at the back. Mike, were you impressed with Milan?
Yeah, I was. I sort of looked at the team sheet and I was like, oh, this Milan team is not up to much. They're sort of like a relic, and Milan and not the team they once were. Like when this fixture was played infamously all them years ago in the Champions League final, you know, they were great teams, Maldini, Seedorf, and they actually played really well. I feel like they identified the threat, where Liverpool's defence could be exposed, and it's Joe Gomez, who hasn't played football in a long time, Joel Matip as well, who when he's not got Van Dijk next to him looks a bit shaky as well, and they knew how to get down between the sides of them. Trent, who is not a fantastic defender, his best asset is going forward, and they got in behind so many times, and they attacked with such, you know, aggressiveness. That they were fast. They really linked up well together, and they attacked with like 5 players, and it was really sort of good to see. It made it for a great spectacle, and all their goals were great, really. And Liverpool just didn't have many answers. But you know, when you have someone like Mo Salah in your team, who I think he hit the other day the milestone of 100 Premier League goals in like something like 140 something appearances. It's just incredible numbers, and he will always bail you out. I have to say as well, and Jurgen Klopp said it after the game, he was like, I can't believe no one was interested in Divock Origi in the summer, like, cause they obviously don't watch him play. And he did a really good job. I think there was a lot of questions over Liverpool's front three, over when one is missing or if one was to get injured. And Origi, you know, fair play to him because he sits on the sidelines 90% of the time, but he actually played pretty well last night. So yeah, fair play. I think there still will be issues for Liverpool, but it was great to see Jordan Henderson sort of encapsulate Stevie G with that was
one
good
goal,
wasn't it?
It's a really good goal. It wasn't, well, I wouldn't say it's a wonder goal. It's just a good goal.
No, it was so difficult because it was on the half volley. So, and it came at him so far. So the fact that he was able to control it and still rifle it in was pretty impressive.
What's the definition of a wonder goal? Is the context of the so like, for example, if you're Leo Messi or Kevin De Bruyne or whatever, or Cristiano Ronaldo, is it got to be a better goal because your level of ability is higher? So, e.g., if you're Eric Dyer and it's like a decent goal, is
You
that
love
then?
Eric Dyer.
I love Eric Dyer.
You do love it.
This show's
so
sponsored by Eric Dyer. But is that then worth more? Do you see what I mean? Because you get, it's almost like a handicap.
Yeah. Cause in my mind, wonder goal is something that you wouldn't expect. So if Eric Dyer is scoring like overhead kick, or he's even scoring from outside the box, I would say that's a wonder goal. Like obviously there's circumstances around
Scored a
it,
free
but
kick for England, so
I think
you know.
like Henderson, I think he hadn't scored in the Champions League in 7 years. So that to me, like a half volley, like really high, fast, is probably considered a wonder goal for me. And given like the circumstances of the game as well, like it was a winner.
Has he scored at a World Cup? Has John Henderson scored at a World Cup?
No.
Eric Dyer has. So, you know, therefore.
So is Kieran Trippier.
Yeah, another world-class Tottenham legend. Don't know what your point is. Got off track there, dude. Sorry.
How are Spurs doing, Joe?
Yeah,
Jose Mourinho had his...
Let's just put him down a peg or two, Mike, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk about Spurs because you were very sort of confident and cocky.
Cocky last week.
You confidently predicted Spurs will finish in the top 4, and then when they beat Man City, they were going to win the league. I know you're joking, but anyway, you were very confident. But a lot of people already questioning Nuno's style of football and how long can it last? Because you were pretty pathetic against Palace.
Yeah, because you'd won your first 3 matches, hadn't you? Top of the table. What's the situation now?
Can I just say, right? Arsenal beat Norwich, and suddenly Mike's strutting around like Mick Jagger.
No, I'm talking about Crystal Palace because you were taking the mick out of Patrick Vieira, Poddington Keys, all of that, and then he's just giving you a hiding.
Yeah, I knew Patrick Vieira listened to the show because I called him a Poddington P, and do you know what? I bet he played that in the dressing room before.
Yeah, I bet he was singing it whilst playing.
Yeah, I reckon he played that, and he said, "Are you going to let them treat your manager like this?" No, boss, we're not. And then look, the thing is, right, there are a couple of mitigating factors. I'm going to say them first, but
Here we go.
Eric Dyer obviously got injured early doors, and as you know, he's a world-class centre-back and very much the linchpin of that Spurs team. And that meant we had to reshuffle things.
Not true.
Japhet Tanganga got sent off, deservedly so. We had to reshuffle even more. Obviously, there's that fiasco with players coming back from South America, Davinson Sanchez, Romero, Lo Celso, which meant our midfield 3, Skip fine, Holberg fine. Harry Winks is my least favourite Tottenham player of all time. And I just winked.
Sorry, Matua. Sorry. Carry
on. And I personally, I think Harry Winks is a bottom 3 Premier League standard player. It drives me mad that he's still at Tottenham. I can't believe we tried to make Everton pay us £25 million for him. It's mad. Pay them 25 million quid to take him. But that's a very defensive, stodgy midfield 3. Dele Alli stunk the joint up. When he's not having a good game, he's a total passenger. And yeah, it was awful. It was really, really awful. And I was really miserable and down. Before that game, I was walking around, I was at an event, and I was kind of walking around just like, right, it's going to be 4 out of 4. Obviously get a draw against Chelsea, beat Arsenal, bang, top of the league after 6 games.
Awkward.
And then afterwards, I was just like, top half's looking good for us. I mean, that's it. Honestly, I think my problem is I do like Nuno, but the problem with Jose was the style of football was the worst I've ever watched. And I lived through Christian Gross and George Graham and David Pleat and all that, the awful times at Spurs. And if it's going to be more of that sitting back, I just don't want it. We're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the Champions League. I'd rather be entertained. And I don't want to play rubbish football. And then if we lose, I think it compounds that. So yes, I think Chelsea will annihilate us on Sunday. I think it's going to be like the Battle of Tewkesbury, Mike. Let me tell you, it's going to be.
Yeah, but that is his style though. So I think you knew what you were getting. Like at Wolves, they were good against the better teams. They knew how to beat better teams, and obviously like Nuno evidenced that with the win against Man City. Like you'd set up on the counter attack So I just don't think you're going to get that football that you're craving. So to me, it was an interesting appointment to go from defensive coach Jose Mourinho to go to another defensive coach, Nuno. But yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we'll get battered by Chelsea on Sunday. I'm feeling a little bit down in the dumps about it.
Oh.
So
Well, just accept it.
It's a real shame.
Just accept it. You're slagging United off. And what about Arsenal?
Win.
Arsenal have got Burnley next after beating Norwich. Yeah, I mean we can gloss over Norwich. We had like 30 attempts on and 6 on target, and we just battered them. But we should have been like 1-5-0, but it didn't happen. And yeah, Burnley up next against Sean Dyche's men, who I'm sure we're going to hear from Sean later. But
he's going to ring in.
Always a tough test, but Burnley are on a torrid run of form, so they're not the sort of Burnley that we've come to expect. They're like a bit leaky in defence, and the Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes are not firing as they have done before. So it's going to be an interesting game.
I think one of those, though, you look at the fixture calendar, don't you? And if you're having a bit of a tough time, you look and you see Arsenal coming up and you think, oh, yes, please. Cha-ching. Right. Jose Mourinho had his 1,000th game in charge. It was with Roma, who are top of Serie A, and they won. I love Jose. It's the worst football I've ever seen at Tottenham. I think he's funny. He still makes me laugh. I think he's a character. He bolted down the touchline to like mob his... you can't mob if you're one person, can you? To jump on his players and like celebrate in front of the Roma fans. He was saying before the game that he wasn't nervous, then admitted after the game he was super nervous. Do you still love Jose, Hannah?
To be honest, I don't really have that much of a love or a hate for him. It's just a bit beige to me now.
He's not beige. He's anything but beige.
I used to really, really like him, and then I just feel that. I just don't really have an opinion on him anymore, if I'm honest. I used to think he was great, and then after United, it's just, whatever. Not for me, hun.
There you go. That's Jose Mourinho dismissed in 20 seconds after 1,000 games of management. I was going to send him that. Imagine if he gets that and he listens to this. Oh, somebody likes me. Is that how he talks? That's Arsene Wenger, isn't it? Oh,
I think it's annoying because I can't do an impersonation of him.
Of Jose?
So, yeah, I can't do it. I just can't
Can you do
it.
Arsene? So I think we played very well and I'm now very happy.
Who's that, sorry?
That's what?
Who's that?
Is that Arsene Wenger?
That's Arsene Wenger. Hello there. I'm a football manager.
I used to love Arsene Wenger.
Did you?
Really like him, yeah. Really, a lot of respect for him.
It's well creepy.
Do you think? Have you met him?
No, but I did see him walking down Putney Riverside once. He still had his Arsenal tracksuit on, which is quite sweet.
Last week.
He lives near me, actually.
Does he?
Old Arsene, yeah.
Not in the same neighbourhood, though.
No, I'm on the bad side of town. He's on the nice side. But
you're in a little dog basket at the end of his garden.
I wish. I wish I was Arsene Wenger's dog. It would be great to live in his house, wouldn't it? Just see what the great man gets up to.
You could dress up and go and sit at the bottom of his garden.
Yeah, I might do.
As a dog.
Yeah, dress up as a Poddington P and sit in his garden. I think Patrick Vieira's come to visit. Right, now, Mike, this was a bit of a source of debate in the WhatsApp group this week. Cristiano Ronaldo has been accused of sexual assault.
I just think with Ronaldo coming back, and there's a lot of media hype around it, I think it's important to let people know what the allegations against him are. I know it was from a long time ago, but Catherine Mayorga felt compelled to come out and speak again, or to bring the case to light again in light of the Me Too movement. So I just thought let people know what the allegations are. Simply,
I agree.
Just that.
Is there an element of, because what we've seen in Hollywood and with music is when people have been alleged or accused of crimes without having been proven guilty, then say, for example, they've been pulled out of film roles or their records have been dropped by labels.
Sponsorships,
that sort of thing, which is dangerous because if that person is later exonerated and found innocent, then their career and their reputation and potentially their lives have been damaged, which is why it's quite delicate. And kind of in the era of cancel culture, I think it's important to let legal processes run their course. Although, Hannah, and I'm not going to make you speak for all women around the world, but I kind of think, is there an element from your point of view that you kind of think more should be made of this, even though it's an allegation? It feels like quite a thorny issue to me.
Well, supposedly, there was a lot of protesters near Old Trafford ahead of the match, a lot of women's rights activists, etc., going off the back of what we're discussing with Ronaldo. But yeah, I'm very much like there's an allegation being made. There's nothing is being confirmed until anything has been proven and it's actually legitimately correct. Then it's very difficult to make a judgment call on.
I'm glad we talked about this, Mike. I wasn't sure, but I'm actually glad because I think like one of the things that we can do in football is ignore the wider context of what's going on, be that where clubs get their money from, be that kind of how much money clubs give, to kind of football clubs lower down the league to support that structure further down the pyramid and stuff. And I think to ignore this kind of thing, I think from our point of view as broadcasters, if you can call this show a professional broadcast of any kind, I think we kind of have a moral obligation not to pass judgment, but certainly to let people know what's going on, because it is a football show. It's a soccer show. And I think people do need to know and do their own research and form their own opinion. And I would be interested to hear what people say. Rosed Pod on Instagram or at Rosed Soccer on Twitter.
I just think we're not passing judgment. I just want to make that very clear. We're just literally bringing the allegations to light to let people know that's also happening as at the same time as Ronaldo's return to the Premier League, and then people can make up their own minds on it.
Absolutely. And some good news now as well. Sol Bamba. If anyone remembers Sol Bamba, he's been kicking around for quite a long time. He was very good on Football Manager a few years ago. He's made his return to football for the first time since being diagnosed with cancer. He's 36 years old. Middlesbrough did lose at the weekend, but I just thought that's a rather nice story. So there you go.
Yeah, it was nice because he came back to train, I think, over the summer, and just so he could build up his fitness. And then they gave him a contract, so absolutely fair play. Great, mental fortitude to come back from something like that and still carry on a professional career at his age as well. So
it's inspiring. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah,
very.
It's amazing.
Do you know who I thought about dropping a Google on the other day? Christian Eriksen. What's his dropping a Google? That's the thing. Rather than like checking Google, dropping a Google on it.
What century are you from, Hannah? It is a bit like you're an alien that's been beamed to
It must Strictly Come Dancing top. No, Christian Eriksen. What's the? I don't know what the update is with him at the moment, with his training and etc.
I believe he's back doing some kind of fitness and rehab work at Inter Milan.
Right.
I think I'm right in saying I think he's going to play again. Because he's had it's quite new surgery. He's had essentially a defibrillator fitted so that should his heart stop, it automatically shocks it to try and restart it, which is pretty amazing that you can put that inside a human being. That's absolutely mental. Hannah, this week you pointed out an online spat between Jamie Carragher and Gary Lineker.
I didn't. It was Mike.
Was it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike.
But Hannah had a lot to say about one of the contributors.
No, it was. Will you explain the story, Joe?
Right. So basically, Sky. This has sent all the loser Messi, Ronaldo fanboys into meltdown, right? Because you get these absolute sad acts that support players now, not clubs. It is like it's a mistake, and it annoys me from an editorial point of view that stuff gets through. So essentially, what happened was there was a stat on Monday Night Football on Sky Sports here in the UK that got the number of trophies that Leo Messi won wrong. And actually credited him for fewer trophies than he's actually won. And, for example, counted the UEFA Nations League as an international trophy for Cristiano Ronaldo, therefore made it look like Cristiano Ronaldo has been a more successful player than Leo Messi. This was within the context of an argument between Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, where Jamie Carragher was saying, I think Messi's the best, and Gary Neville was saying, I think Ronaldo's the best. Now, this is absolute clickbait waffle to get these loser fanboys, as I say, from all over the world, and I like Messi, I like Ronaldo. No one cares. Just watch football and shut up. But but it is like I do think it's a bit
the most
sad.
boring debate, isn't it? Like it's the eternal debate, and you just have one your preference. You don't need to debate it.
Just enjoy them both.
Great.
Just
Well,
enjoying
Gary Neville was actually saying his driver on the way to the studio had said, if you had to bring a player on with, was it like 10 minutes to go of a game, somebody that you would trust will score for you, who would it be? And that was like the context. So they were going through these stats, and obviously some of the stats were incorrect.
Yes, some of the stats were incorrect. And then Jamie Carragher made a little dig about Gary Lineker using auto cue too much on Match of the Day.
If you want to come on to Monday Night Football, then basically he won't be able to use auto cue.
I suppose the issue there is, though, that Gary Lineker's a presenter, not a pundit. And like, yeah, you've got to be able to ad-lib a little bit, but it's a different role. He's guiding the debate and doing the links. So Carragher and Neville don't use auto cue because they're called upon to argue and debate things. So obviously it's not an auto cue because it's opinion-based stuff. And then who's that? It's Dave Jones who hosts it, isn't it? So he obviously does the auto cue links. I mean, I just think we've all been very quick to forget that Jamie Carragher spat on a teenage girl. I just can't quite get past that. I don't, in my opinion, he doesn't. That's not something a nice guy does. And
but
I think
he did apologise for that, and you know.
So can I spit on teenagers with impunity if I apologise?
Go and put phlegm on all the school kids as they're walking home. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh dear. But I think Gary Neville seems like a smashing fella. But I just think like
he is. He's unbelievable. He's my favourite pundit.
Oh, I think he's the best pundit around. Charismatic, fun, like articulate, knowledgeable. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I don't really like Jamie Carragher. Like I as soon as I saw him gobbing on a teenage girl, I just thought, I know people shouldn't be giving you stick, but he's got his daughter in the car and whatever. And just don't spit on people. It's like, it's just, I don't know, didn't like it. But Gary Lineker as well. I mean, yeah, fine, whatever. Just don't get involved. Why'd you care? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, but because I don't really use Twitter because it's just a little cesspit of hate.
Yeah.
And I just think like Instagram's such a happy, clappy, cheerful place with lots of colourful pictures. Instagram's a bit like kids' TV. And then it's a bit like, Twitter is a bit like the cultural equivalent of Arsenal fan TV. It's just people screaming at each other. It's like, guys.
Fire and fury. Yeah, I mean, I've muted Gary Lineker on Twitter for a long, long time now.
Oh, he's going to be devastated.
Wait till he watches this.
He just pops up all the time with like a lot of sanctimonious stuff. And I've just got no time for it. Like, I really don't care about his views, and he's got a lot of strong views. And like replying to Jamie Carragher is just another, thing that he would do. Like it's like the worst sort of one-upmanship that there is. Like, oh, you're both ex-players, you're both on TV. That's fine. Coexist. Like, you don't need to try and be better than the other. Do you know what I mean? It's just
It's sad.
Pathetic.
It's sad.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
Like,
and Jamie
just
Carragher,
get on with your job. Like, why do you care so much about what people think about you? Just get on with your job. That's fine. You're both good at it. Some people might not like you. Some people will. And that's the end of it. It really annoys me.
And the reason Jamie Carragher said that about the auto cue is because Gary Lineker is renowned for requesting auto cue even when he's doing links to ad breaks, etc. And that's why obviously Jamie was like, oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to come on Monday Night Football because we don't use auto cue. So he's completely called Gary Lineker out. But then you're like, oh, it's fun to watch a bit of a spat like that. But like you say, Mike, it's like the three of us have got very different opinions about football, none of which is right apart from mine, obviously. But the idea is it's interesting to listen to, and you kind of want to keep that level of respect for ex-players, not hear them like bitching about who has auto cue and who doesn't and who got a stat wrong.
And I just sort of think you're sat at home on the sofa in your mansion with your kids there and your wife or whatever, and you're on your phone arguing with, just get a life, mate. Like, I just think it's really, really sad. But I tell you what, a man whose opinions we do value more than any other on this show is Burnley manager Sean Dyche. And I don't know what he's going to say. I've got no idea what he wants to talk about. All I know is he's in the WhatsApp group, him and Eric Dyer. They don't say much, but when they do, it's often not worth listening to. But Sean just WhatsApped us and said, I'm going to ring in. So I think we've got him on the line now, haven't we, Hannah?
Yeah. Is he going to do a poem for us? Are we going to have a poetry intro and stuff? Is that
I've got no idea what to expect. He's pretty unpredictable.
Oh, because I think he'd said to me he wanted to do like a poem.
Well, what a week in football. Ronaldo and Lukaku scoring a brace. In the Champions League, I thought Pep was going to smack Grealish and Mahrez straight in the face. They wouldn't disobey me at Turf Moor. Klopp was shooting his mouth off, saying that we were wrestling. What a ding. You don't mess with me, not the Burnley Ginger King. At the weekend against Arsenal, we're going to come good. We've got our main man up top, the mighty Chris Wood.
Thanks, Sean.
That was such a good
Cheers,
poem.
What I like about Sean is he's got quite an unpredictable rhyming scheme. It's like it's sometimes rhyming couplets, sometimes every other line, sometimes every third line. You never really know where it's going to go.
It makes me think that he's just been to a gymnastics class this morning with his 3-year-old and sat and wrote it whilst watching his 3-year-old do a gymnastics class. It just that's what it reminded me of on the back of a envelope piece of paper. Who knows?
Oh, he sent you the envelope as well to have a look at?
Yeah, just to look at.
Do you know what, right? I think the thing I love most about this show is that Sean Dyche has the inclination to call up and just share his thoughts like that. No context, he just does it. I think, thanks, Sean. Another beautiful poem. And look, if there's anything you would like to hear Sean do a poem about, do let us know. Rosehead Pod on Insta or Rosehead Soccer on Twitter. I'm sure he's very amenable. He's a man with time on his hands. Let's face it. Right, just to finish off, you two want to talk about your fantasy Premier League.
So, right, I don't want you to
Hannah,
think I'm thick here.
God, here we go.
We've had issues, but I can't see your score. Why can I not see any of I can't see your team. I can't see any of your info.
Is Hannah in a league on her own?
Have you done something, Mike, says I can't see your team each week?
No, so basically...
Am I being stupid?
No, so on the app, you have like your regular leagues, but we're in a head-to-head league.
Yeah, but I can't see your team.
Yeah, but that's... So if you click on our league...
Yeah.
And it's a head-to-head.
Yeah.
And then we're playing each other every week.
Yeah, no, Mike, I get that we're playing each other every week, but I can't see your team.
You just need to click on my team name.
But I do, and nothing comes up. I think you're muting it because you're like, you're scared.
No, I was going to say, so the update is we've played 3 game weeks. I won the first 2, and the Krillmanator, she came back to win last week by about 2 points because she brought in Ronaldo and captained him.
Had Antonio up front,
so
though.
I don't know what you're going to do with him this week, but it's currently 2-1 to me. I'm leading the league by 3 points.
Okay, I'm going to beat you next week.
What are your team names?
Well, Hannah's is actually the Krillmanator. I wasn't just making that up.
Oh, I thought you were going to go for like the Creel deal or something.
Krillmanators. No, because my maiden name was Creelman, Hannah Creelman.
No, I understand.
I know that you know that, but I'm just saying that was my maiden name.
No, I understand because it's a very nuanced, subtle.
Because creel baskets that catch crabs in the sea. So I used to be called crab catcher at school.
That's not a reference that anybody who grew up in a major city in the last 100 years has. Oh, a creel buckets. You know when you go out and you get the creel buckets and you take them to market and you sell them, and then sometimes you can get Woodfoot fire. What?
I don't think they had that at the Battle of Tewkesbury.
No, they didn't. Even they would be like, "What's she talking about, bro?" Yeah. There you go, creel buckets. So there you go. Mike, what's your team name?
My name
is Baskets. My bad.
My name is Me, Myself, and Ibe. After Ben, me, and Jordan Ibe.
That's quite good.
Thanks.
That's quite good. I quite like Lukaku. One flew over Lukaku's nest. Does that work?
It's not bad. Not great.
On that note, I think we should probably end the show. I should also tell people we've now got a Facebook page. So just search Rosehead Soccer Podcast on Facebook and on YouTube. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're pushing stuff out.
Slagging it on socials, basically.
Absolutely slagging it.
On socials.
We're like Sandra around back at Chippy on a Friday night. Anybody who gets me a small portion, oi?
Yes, a happy ending.
But big thank you everybody, because we're getting like anywhere between kind of 50, 60 to like 70,000 views a month on video content, or reaching 70,000 No, hang on, that's of me. Yeah, so reaching 100,000 accounts a month, which is really nice. So yeah, thank you everybody who has watched our stuff. We
Appreciate it.
Hannah's like, I don't appreciate it. I hate you all.
I do appreciate if you're a Man United fan and you watch our stuff, then I appreciate you even more.
Right, that's it. You can get in touch. It's Rosehead Soccer on Twitter or Rosehead Pod on Instagram. Hannah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike, thank you very much.
Cheers, lad.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.